Dealing with health insurance isn't tyranny. Tell that to the person dying of a disease that they have to crowdfund on GoFundMe to try to pay for because their health insurance that they also pay for doesn't cover it.
Hey, shout out to all of our subscribers and members here on the channel. My name is Reese Waters and I'm troubled. As I'm sure you probably know, Luigi Mangione has been named the suspect in the fatal shooting of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
It's completely out of touch. It's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience.
Now, I first want to send condolences out to his family. What interests me most is the reaction.
I thought I saw the shooter yesterday who unalived the CEO. But then I remembered my vision insurance was denied last year. So it turns out I saw nothing.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
And it's not just the memes, although there were a lot of memes. Now, Mangione was spotted at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and a McDonald's employee called the police. The restaurant's page on Google and Yelp has been flooded with negative reviews calling workers rats and snitches. One now deleted review on Google that was spotted by Reuters said the location has rats in the kitchen that will make you sick and your insurance isn't going to cover it. A Google spokesperson said that the reviews violate our policies and are being removed. Also, additional protections are being added to the profile page to prevent more of these kinds of reviews. Commenters also shared a similar sentiment on Yelp. However, Yelp turned off commenting on the McDonald's location's page. Now, I believe the best response to what went down at McDonald's and the irony therein is best reflected here. But even the McDonald's was not immune to the reaction machine.
Luigi? Oh my God, you've created quite the stir online. Yeah, you have. Everybody's looking for you. Yeah, including me. Wow, you are gorgeous. Is it true you're 6'2"? Love that. Okay, well, if you need a place to stay, here's my address, phone number, and social security, and of course my keys. Yeah.
Fundraisers on GoFundMe also popped up for Mangione's legal fund. However, those have since been removed. A GoFundMe spokesperson said that it prohibits fundraisers for the legal defense of violent crimes and that donors have been refunded. How come y'all didn't have that policy when the victim was black? And a Facebook post by United Health Group expressing sadness about Thompson's death received 62,000 reactions. 57,000 of them were laughing emoji. Also, according to TMZ, the $225 olive green jacket that he was wearing when he was spotted began morbidly flying off the shelves, quote unquote, selling over 700 units in 48 hours per an item popularity tool on Macy's site as of Tuesday. The retailer page lists the jacket as currently unavailable. Online and in real life, content creators spoofed the idea of dressing like the alleged suspect. There was even an assassin look-alike competition held in Manhattan's Washington Square Park.
I don't know if I want to be a part of it. I didn't shoot him.
I just got back from Atlanta. Atlanta. Hello. How you doing?
All right, so the FBI can come out now.
Got him.
Where's my bike?
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
And this.
Hello, Mumsy. How are you doing?
Jake, go back. Change. No green jacket, no hood. This is serious now. A lot of people have been DMing me, messaging me. You have to go back and change. This is not funny. Are you listening to me? This is not a funny situation. Please listen to me. Jake. Oh my God.
What?
What don't you understand?
Oh my God!
It's
Let
a
him
federal
live.
crime. You need to go home and change. Do you
The
want to
person that it was done to did a
Jake,
lot worse.
I
Okay,
have 2
to
jackets.
the entire country.
I'm not negating
To the
that.
entire
I
country.
agree with you.
Now, when authorities shared that ammunition casings found near where Thompson was shot had been inscribed with the words deny, defend, and depose, a likely reference to the oft-cited phrase delay, deny, defend, which describes the practices insurance companies have used to reject or defer claims, the Washington Post reported that an array of manufacturer-made items printed with the phrase, including t-shirts, hats, holiday sweaters, and wine tumblers, had appeared on Amazon, and that the retailer removed the items after being contacted by the newspaper. With sellers cashing in on the moment, even more user-generated merch cropped up in the wake of Luigi's arrest, this time printed with his mugshot or photos found on his social media. Amazon, for one, seems to be moving quickly to remove any items related to the shooting. Now, you might be wondering, what really would be the reason for this kind of reaction? How does something like this garner the public's attention in such a way?
You guys want to hear the craziest thing? Last year, the United States spent $4.8 trillion on healthcare alone. Now, that's an enormous number. To put it into perspective, if you took the top 10 richest men on the planet and added together all of their net worths, you wouldn't have half of what this country spent on healthcare in just 1 year. Healthcare spending accounts for somewhere between 15 and 18% of our country's entire GDP. What that means is that 1 in every $6 spent in this country is spent on healthcare. The United States spends far and away more than any other wealthy nation on the planet. And in exchange for this exorbitant amount of money, the United States receives the worst healthcare of any wealthy nation on the planet. In a survey of 10 wealthy nations, the United States ranked dead last when it came to health outcomes and access to care, and second to last when it came to administrative efficiency and equity. The United States is the worst when it comes to, things like life expectancy and infant mortality and safety during pregnancy and diabetes management. If we're spending all of this money, where the hell is it going? It's going to administrative costs. The United States spends more than double the next highest wealthy nation in administrative costs. The money is going to, among other devious entities, health insurers. The health insurance industry recorded net profits, not gross, but net profits of $25 billion in 2023. In 2022, while a lot of you were rationing your insulin and your inhalers, CEOs of just 7 health insurers took home $335 million. And the health insurance industry has spent $117 million on lobbying the government to keep this system in place this year alone. To be clear, they are robbing you, and they are keeping you and the people you love the most sick and in pain to do it. The reason that they're doing this is because they believe that you are too dumb or too weak to do anything about it. And every day that we labor under this system, we prove them right. The time for Medicare for all was 80 years ago. Every other wealthy nation on this planet has figured this out. Why haven't we?
That's right. Health insurance costs are far outpacing inflation, leaving more consumers on the hook each year for thousands of dollars in out-of-pocket expenses. At the same time, some insurers are rejecting nearly 1 in 5 claims. In 2024, the average health insurance premium for families carried a price tag of over $25,000 a year, while single workers paid almost $9,000, representing a 6% and 7% increase from just a year earlier. And since 2000, the rise in health insurance premiums has outpaced inflation for all but a handful of years. Yet data shows that employees' share of their premiums is also on the rise, with a worker with family coverage typically paying premiums of $5,700 per year in 2017, the most recent year for that data, up from about $1,600 in 2000. The average family deductible, the amount paid out of pocket before insurance kicks in, has increased from $2,500 in 2013 to $3,700 in 2023. About 81% of Americans last year said they were dissatisfied with the cost of health care in the United States, which was a 16-year high. And those anxieties are very well founded because it happens to be the top cause of bankruptcy in the country, healthcare related debt.
But wait, there's more.
And if you want to know just how messy this gets, you probably recall in the immediate aftermath of the shooting, there was that report about Anthem and anesthesia. Remember that? You remember how we all reacted to them dropping that? One of America's largest insurance companies, Anthem, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, had just unilaterally declared it will no longer pay for anesthesia care if the surgery or procedure goes beyond an arbitrary time limit, regardless of how long the procedure takes. Now, I can't think of worse timing. I can't think of worse timing for that to hit the news. I mean, that's like asking me for money after Christmas. Like I'm broke till I get my taxes back. Let's just go ahead and assume that. Well, this is how messy this gets. Now, Anthem's policy actually wouldn't have increased costs for enrollees. Rather, it would have reduced payments for some of the most overpaid physicians in America. And when millionaire doctors beat back cost controls, as they have here, thanks to public sentiment, patients pay the price through higher premiums. Yes, we got that wrong. Anesthesia services are billed partially on the basis of how long a procedure takes, which creates an incentive for anesthesiologists to err on the side of exaggerating how long their services were required during an operation. And there's evidence that some may engage in overbilling by overstating the length of a procedure or the degree of risk a patient faces in undergoing anesthesia. Starting in February, Anthem had planned to discourage overbilling by adopting a set of maximum time limits for procedures inspired by data from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. If an operation went long for medically necessary reasons, anesthesiologists could appeal for higher payment, but the process of reimbursement could be more arduous. Critically, contrary to claims which we all made, I'm also guilty to that, the policy wouldn't have saddled patients with additional bills if their operators went over time. The burden of this cost control would have fallen on participating anesthesiologists, not patients. So if you're scoring at home, we had been brought together and united under the idea of getting out from under the boot of these healthcare insurance companies, and we rallied in opposition to this call, only to then having defended greedy anesthesiologists. Like that's how messy this whole healthcare thing. Like you can't. I'm looking for a good guy. Like I'm looking for a good guy. It is hard. It's like trying to find a good black man on Tubi. But what I want you to do, and those of you that regularly watch this channel probably understand this already, but especially if you're new, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take this energy, right? All this energy that you have that has brought so many people together to not only voice your objection and pain and experiences that you've had with healthcare companies. I want you to take that sentiment of feeling taken advantage of by these people that are hoarding all this wealth.
Do yourself a favor and please go to this video and read the comments. It will make your day. I have not seen this type of unity from the American people in a very long time. Everyone coming together to ratio Ben Shapiro's video, where he attempts and fails to blame the assassination of the UnitedHealthcare CEO on the left, the evil left. Now, his whole business model is predicated on keeping people divided. That's his whole shtick. But another part of it is that he is literally this type of plutocrat. So of course he's butthurt because not only is he one of the elites who often brags about how he's so famous he has to have security wherever he goes, but his whole job is to do propaganda for the rich and the elites and the 1% and the corporations and the Israeli regime. Literally though, look at his investors. Look at the people who fund Daily Wire.
If you don't like that health insurers often deny coverage for certain pre-existing conditions or non-covered doctors or medication, you can then murder the CEO of a health insurance company. This is revolutionary leftist evil. And it's evil for a couple of reasons. First, violence is not justified in a democracy where your say is part of the process. This is why democracies are generally good, because they outsource the violence to the government. Revolution to overthrow tyranny is justified, but tyranny has to be actually real, and violence has to be the last resort. I didn't like public policy in California, so I picked up my family and my company, and we left. Okay, tyranny is not real in the case of healthcare in the United States.
Geez, there's so much to say in just that short clip. And I got a couple other really good clips from that show, but you know, I don't want to make this too long. You guys know how I get. I love how he just gives away what a rich piece of shit he is and that he has absolutely no idea what it's like to struggle or get fucked over by a health insurer because he's rich. He doesn't have to worry about that. Dealing with health insurance isn't tyranny. Really, bitch? Tell that to the person dying of a disease that they have to crowdfund on GoFundMe to try to pay for because their health insurance that they also pay for doesn't cover it. Also, the part he said about democracy. That's not how democracy works, man. He said, that's why democracies are generally good because they outsource the violence to the government, and then when you live in a democracy, you have a say. You are so close, Benny. You are so close to getting it. Yeah, that's what people have realized, is that they don't have a say. We may live in a democracy in name, but this is not a functioning democracy where the people have a say. The people with money and the elites and the oligarchs and the corporations and the foreign lobbies are the ones who have a say. It's not hard to find what the public supports. If we lived in a democracy, we'd have a higher minimum wage. If we lived in a democracy, corporations would pay taxes. If we lived in a democracy, we'd have paid family leave. If we lived in a democracy, private equity goons wouldn't be able to price regular Americans out of the housing market. But instead, we get a TikTok ban, something that literally no American wanted. There was a Princeton study some years ago that found that public opinion had little to no effect on public policy. Do you guys know that the inequality that we live with now is worse than the Gilded Age? You can only squeeze people and fuck them over for so long before people get fed up. Eventually, people are going to start to notice, and they're going to start asking questions about that. And they're going to start wondering why they're getting screwed like that. And it seems as though some people in your audience are actually starting to ask that question and figure that out, which I know is bad for business, but you're going to be okay because your rich benefactors and investors are going to back you and your shitty content no matter what you do. Because clearly you don't understand how healthcare actually operates in this country. And you don't seem to understand how the system actually works either. Or you're just lying. Both can totally be possible. Either way, you don't really seem like you know what you're talking about. So you should probably let people who know what the fuck they're talking about deal with this. And you can go back to making bullshit culture war videos about Barbie and why you're mad at her as a 45-year-old man. Totally normal. Not weird or creepy at all.
I want you to take that energy. I want you to take that energy. And I want you to take that over to Kasim Rashid's page. Let me take you on a little journey right here. If you agree that unaliving is bad, but you don't view insurance companies denying critical medicine to people knowing full well they will die as a result as a form of unaliving, then you don't in fact believe unaliving is bad. You believe rich people should be able to kill poor people So be honest with yourself. The people who had no problem with cops killing a black kid playing in the park, or a black woman sleeping at home, or a black teacher driving home from school, a black man selling loose cigarettes in NYC no less, are now outraged at the extrajudicial killing of an exploitative CEO. Fascinating. The killing of the UnitedHealth CEO has taught us one thing. It's that we're maybe not as divided as we think. When 90% of people empathize with the people the CEO exploited more than the CEO, it should tell our politicians something. Stop bowing to billionaires and actually work for the people. The literal point of A Christmas Carol is that the only way wealthy elites part from their exorbitant wealth is when they're traumatized into submission. Y'all radicalize young people with the idea that demanding economic justice with blunt force is moral, and now you're shocked someone acted on it. The Lancet estimates that 68,000 people die annually due to a lack of health care or denied health care. Since corporations are people, then why are health insurance corporate policies that deny life-saving medicine to patients who will die without that medicine not deemed as intentional murder? That all made perfect sense to me, but it doesn't to everybody. And that's why I'm troubled.